Hello, welcome to another video on the channel. It's GHOSTDRIFTX, aka Ghost. Today we're going back through salvage and coming up with other ideas we can use to try and get back to the money we were making, but wanted to go back a little bit, let you know why we're so focused on salvage, because if you didn't play the game until now, you won't understand. So I want to do a quick jump back in time, and then also it's relevant for now because I basically get more boxes off of a 890 or C2 than I did off of A2 or a Hammerhead, because I think even though armor's not in the game, I didn't get as much. Now maybe I just didn't know where to scrape, but it just didn't seem like I got as many boxes. So this is back when we had to do one box at a time. Well, basically you had two boxes. In the Reclaimer, you basically have four boxes, two on both sides. Then you went to the back, and this is about what we'll just say 8,000 just to round it up. So per box, you were making 8,000 per box. Fast forward to the crush era, we getting so many boxes. I think in this ship, I think I crushed 8 ships before I actually went to land. So you can only understand. Then we were putting in the rafters, and then in the bottom, I was only putting 8 SU boxes at the bottom. I was just going crazy. And this is what a run I had at Lorryville. You see, I started out at 24.4 million, basically almost 24.5 million. And as you can see, just off those two, you can see that, yeah. So the nerf is definitely heavy when it comes to this, because you're not making this. I don't think we'll ever see this. Actually, I think this is more money that I think more people made more money during this than even when the Quantanium era was kicking, because of how quickly you could do it. But, let me know in the comments you agree with that. So I had to go talk to the people who are, on the inside. Couldn't really get too deep with them, but I had to get a little bit of information because I had an idea that I want to try, and I need to find out, what I might need to expect if I'm going to do this. So I had to keep on thinking, going through some of my contacts. I finally found a contact who had what I needed, and so we hooked up, got the Rangers together. Hey, make sure my stuff come back intact, and we good to go. So once I got all that squared away, it was good to go ahead and start putting my mission in the plan. And basically, you can try this. It's up to you, but you definitely need this vehicle unless there's another way to do it. I don't know, but that's the only reason I would use this vehicle currently. So it's an SRV. One thing I will say, be careful with that back tow hitch, and I'll tell you about that. So here I am. I'm basically picking up a mission so I can actually have a tracker for the ship that I'm going to come back to. Okay. So I'm going to use this guy right here. Go give me actually like a delivery mission. If you're new to Star Citizen, that's how you track items. If you want to go somewhere and you don't you want to get back to a spot that was kind of hard to find, you go get a delivery mission first and then drop it off at that spot. And you can always track that again when you turn on that mission. Hopefully they'll give us maybe a limited number of items we can set to they'll just be like trackers. If you played Warframe, they have these trackers you can put on the planet. I think you get 5 or 6 of them. But they just stay there. Once you put them up, they stay. Now you can remove them, but they're good to find things on the planet, which is really great. So here I am getting here to go pick up this package. Like I said, when we get to a certain point to the ship that we want to use, using those markers would be great. Of course, people use them for negative stuff too, but ultimately it's a great way to go find stuff that maybe it was really hard to get to. So here I'm going to do the 30K, the 30,000, that's terrible. $30,000 Hammerhead mission. You know what era I'm coming from. And I did it right next to YELA because it basically generates around YELA. They may change it over time, but it's let me go pick it up right when I get there. Also, if you're trying to jump and you can't jump in 3.23, just clear it out and retrack it, and usually you can go ahead and go to that spot. If you're actually trying to do a planet type deal, it's the same thing. Cancel out, redo it. But when you're in this ship and you towed something, there's probably another reason why you might not be able to jump. So here we made it to the Hammerhead. Honestly, I don't like the way this tow works, because it's like a fishing rod, right? It's not even like an actual tractor beam, which you get a little bit of control. But you notice I just got a crime stat. Now they had took that away. So if you're in the Reclaimer and you come out here, or I would say even whatever the little small ship, I never use it, but the little one looks like a clamp. Well, not that one, but you know what I'm talking about. It's the other scraping ship. If you use that one, I don't know how much you would need to scrape before it'll give you credit for it. But with the Reclaimer, you literally can come out here and just crush the ship if you want to. You get about 120,000. but you can't scrape it, but you need to know that have that timer set up because it is time based before security shows up. So here I am trying to just get the ship to actually stop. So I know it's floating, but it seems like it's slowing down. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to exit my ship and get to that ship. And all I'm actually trying to do is get inside this ship and turn the engines on. I know the power's probably not gonna come on because it's a salvage ship, but the engines may kick on, which means it's not gonna go anywhere, but it may help to make the ship stabilize. And sometimes just sitting in the pilot seat, the ship does little odd things. So when I get in this seat, I'm gonna look around and you'll see the ship seems like it's kind of settled. I can't really tell, so I'm like, let me continue to look for the engine. So I go ahead and get into the pilot seat. I don't own a Hammerhead. If you did, you probably know exactly what you want to do to try and get this thing to stop. And so I get over here and there is the actual engine. Now, if you look at the console, you'll see the lights flicker when I click it. Now, I don't know, but I know the ship seems like it's completely stopped at this point. So let me know if you know, yeah, definitely that works, or the ship just basically gonna settle out. You can come in the front of the ship through this airlock. Now, I didn't try to enter it, so I don't know if it'll work from the outside. So you'd have to test it out. But I know I did go out the front of the ship because I was like, oh, that's an airlock. So I was able to get out. My ship, as you can see, is a nice little distance away, but it didn't take me long. And I kind of like that movement that they have. So I got over there, brought the package, dropped it off, and now we're gonna get back into the SRV and get out of here. And as you can see, I'm loading it up, and this is the part I told you. If you go to jump in the SRV and you towed something, then there's another reason why you can't jump. So make sure you just get out of your seat. If you clear the mission, like I told you, normally just clear the destination and set it again. If it still won't let you jump, then you probably need to either get out of your seat and get back in it and see if you see this message at the top of your screen. If you do, then you basically then turn off your tow completely, because for some reason, and hopefully it'll take care of it, once you've towed a vehicle, it's like infinitely thinking that you're towing it. So you got to go back here and make sure you disable this. I think I use the same button that retracts the claw in the reclaimer. So once I did that, the screen went clear, popped out of the turret, and then we're going to try and jump again. Now remember, we got 30,000 for that mission. Now I will tell you this. I was telling you about that tow hitch on here, or basically your tractor beam. I think the hitbox is messed up. So I'm bringing it in low because a couple times I just flew out normal and it blew up. So I'm thinking the tow hitch actually has a higher hitbox than it seems. And so you're catching or clipping the top of the hanger when you leave. So just bring it real low and kind of angle it. So this is why I said if you're towing it and all you're going to do is tow and that's it, they're hitting you with a $30,000 fine. And if you want to clear it this way, it's going to cost you $32,000. So it's kind of dirty for those SRV owners personally. So if that's the only ship you don't have a reclaimer, it kind of sucks. If you compare it with somebody, maybe you say, hey, give me X amount and I'll pull it out of there for you. But definitely, whatever you charge, it better be over $32,000. That's all I'm saying. So this is just Star Citizen. This is, I don't know, man. Some of these bugs, they go away for like entire updates, like multiple updates, and then they come back like the seat and the hanger. I don't know. It's like the little gremlins in the programming. Anyway, we had to go 10 minutes. So I had to do a little cinematic walking because, yeah, I wasn't feeling it. If I told you how long it took me to record this video right here just to get all the footage, yeah. You feel my pain, man. You feel my pain. So here I am using the switching modes to slow the ship down. I do like that part. I don't care for the modes, to be honest with you. I think they could have went about this a totally different way and it would have been a lot better because you don't have any shields when you're in navigation mode. So unfortunately, you know, if somebody roll up on your ship, and I'm wondering how they're going to do this, but if somebody roll up on your ship and you don't have your shields on, normally they can scrape your ship. So just keep that in mind. I thought about that the other day. I said, had they really thought about that? Because if the shields are off, a person's ship can get scraped. So just, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they come up with. So I actually scraped this entire ship, okay? Just so you know, it took a minute. It wasn't too bad. But I did scrape it, but it also lets you know the servers, I don't know, the game might be out by the time this drops. But I was on here for a minute. Okay? And so I scraped the entire hammerhead. I think I left like maybe 5%, something like that. There was one little spot I hit, it said it was still like 10%, but there are times when you're scraping and the beam will turn red even though you're at the correct distance. Just move around it, and if it kicks back on, don't worry about it. Some parts of it just don't scrape. Now I don't know if that's on all ships, but it did happen on the Hammerhead in a couple of spots. Not too bad. Here I was a little too close. If you look at it, you can tell I was actually at like 50. I'm using like 100, 125 in those different spaces as far as when I'm about to break it. But I was trying to get close to try and make sure all this stuff was picking up, because a couple of updates before this, it seemed like the distance was too short. It was like a lot shorter than it used to be. So I was actually a little too close, but I think it's okay to still be back maybe about 100 without getting hit. It didn't damage my ship, as you can tell, but I was able to get all those parts and then get that last part out of here, because hey, if you're gonna crush, you might as well get all of it, right? You might as well get all of it. And like I said, if you're just gonna go and crush on this mission, then you're gonna make about 150,000, right? Because it'll be, I think it's like 120 plus the 30, right? So it'll be 150,000. If you scrape a little bit, which I'll show you later on, you can kind of increase that. And this is mainly solo. Now, if you got a crew, then you can do a lot more, right? You can do a whole lot more. If you got somebody got an SRV and you got a crew, oh yeah, you can do a ton, because now you don't have to come back to the ship. Somebody could be in the reclaimer already. You just tow it to the reclaimer, and it's good to go. If the reclaimer could lock on that joker, it could be scraping it while you pulling both of them. Anyway, the server did crash, but it didn't crash. It was about 3-minute window, then it came back and we were good to go. If you're in a bunker or something like that, usually the mission, you drop the mission. So I was in the bunker, I got stuck in the bottom, so I couldn't get out. The elevator wouldn't come down. So here we are in Orison. Want to point this out, this button does work finally in the reclaimer. So you don't have to worry about pushing the elevator up to the top if you need to get out the reclaimer. You're worried about maybe it's not low enough to the ground to come into the front again. That elevator button works, so you can actually call it up from the top. Okay, I know there's the ladders, but I don't care about the ladder. So you can see we basically got 234.52. Of course, you know, anything past that decimal you kind of lose, which is not a big deal. You technically could use it, like you could make little items out of that machine, but you can see we got the different boxes. Normally I do 16s, but I didn't know if it was still gonna just pick them up anywhere. So on this run, I was being neat, so I took something to the bottom, kind of went back to the old way of stacking, which takes a lot more time, to be honest with you. I really wish they just let us stack them a lot higher up in this top area, because you got so much room in there. But regardless, it's neither here nor there. Yeah, I think this is my girl's sister. So if you saw my little promo video, that's the young lady I'm talking to, and then I think that's her sister, because she not as cute. Anyway, so now we over here. This is if you scrape the ship. Actually, it was 243. I think it was a little bit less the other day, but that's still cool. But as you see, for some reason with the cargo, and this happened a couple of patches back, that little thing was coming up. So I don't know what's with the code sometimes in the game. It's like they'll fix something and it just comes back out of nowhere. You're like, what? So now we're gonna go over here. You can see what it did when I scraped the entire hammerhead. We're getting 15, so they double the amount that you were actually getting before this. Now I didn't scrape at all during the crushing era in my mind, so I don't even know how much you would have gotten, because I was crushing everything. I wasn't scraping nothing. I mean nothing. So here we are. I pushed it back a little bit because that was kind of a workaround when you were having that bug, but unfortunately they was like, nah, we taking everything. So I just like, whatever, we on test server, let's just go, right? So I'm just trying to see if it give me anything, but I figured it's just gonna do me dirty. So for time frame and what it took, woo, it was crazy. So anyway, now we're gonna get back in the reclaimer, and we're actually gonna shoot out here. We're gonna do the scraping at the location of trespassing. So make sure you set your timer. To me, I think it's more imperative to go ahead and pick up the mission right at YELA than to just fly, you know, pick it up wherever you're at and then take off. It's too much time, I think. And you'd have to test it out. But I basically scraped it a little bit. I tried to get about 30 to 40%. If I get 50, it'd be great, but I don't think I even got that much. Once I got to a certain point on my timer, I went in and just cracked it. Because as you can see, I'm speeding it up, but it does take a little bit of time to break this and then bring all the parts in. And so you'll get credit for it. So if you just want to go out there and crush it on that mission, you'll make, I think, like 150, maybe it'll be more, because I think they last like 200 something thousand, 260,000, something like that. So you make a little bit more. Now here's where I just got stupid with it, but I want you to know, when you see the numbers don't match up, so if you see like 160 and then you look at the amount, it's like it don't match up. So this is what you would get if you just crush it, 243,000. So you'd be making about $273,000 if you just crush it, and the amount they're supposed to pay you for that mission. But you don't get a crime stat unless they come back and add that. Now here it says 3 units, but you see it's 48 units, and that's why that amount's there. So just whenever you throw the boxes anywhere, just like the last time they kept that during the crushing era, you still get credit for it. It just don't show correct. See, it just says 1 box for 123,000. You're like, oh my goodness, like what was that we picked up, right? But when you go and sell it, you'll see it was actually 8 SCU, and when you divide that, it's gonna come out to about 15%. I mean 15,000. So it's still gonna be the same amount you get per unit, which is about 15,000. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, slap that like button. If you got any ideas, any things you thought about, like, hey, we could do this differently. The shield thing I mentioned, like, what you thinking about that? Is that something people gonna run into where they leave it in navigation mode, trying to get out of the place quick, and forget somebody can scrape their ship? I don't know if you can even tow. Can somebody tow your ship if the shield is off? I don't know. We'll have to test this stuff out. So anyway, man, let me know in the comments. Once again, it's the Ghost. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment if you enjoyed this video. And as always, choose life over death.